Do we need to get the federal government out of our schools? This argument about education is so attractive to so many and just seems to make sense, right? Case in point, look at this comment. Our education system sucks. It was better before the federal government came in. Return responsibility to the states and individual school districts. But did the federal government ever take over our schools? How much are they in our schools? Did you know that the U.S. Constitution doesn't mention education or schools? In fact, states have always maintained control over academic standards, state assessments, graduation requirements, teacher credentialing, school accountability systems, school funding formulas, charter school laws, and state education budgets. School boards have always had control over curriculum materials and textbook adoptions, school calendars and bell schedules, hiring and evaluation of staff, student discipline policies, collective bargaining agreements with their unions, local budget allocation decisions, and instructional programs and course offerings. So where did the federal government come into our schools? Well, there are a couple of laws that were put in place. Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, the Individuals with Disabilities in Education Act of 1975, No Child Left Behind in 2002, and the Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015. So what does that involvement look like? Yes, laws were passed. So what? Well, schools get funding from the federal government that amounts to about 8 to 10% of their budgets. That federal funding comes with strings. Those strings being that they've got to comply with these laws. And what's the impact of that? Well, the impact of that is that a state can't say, we're not going to bother educating students with disabilities. Did you know that in some cases that happened before? Before these laws, some students were just left out of the education system. So these laws also did things like ensuring that we didn't have huge disparities, inequities between what kind of an education different populations, different demographics of students received. And things like the No Child Left Behind and Every Student Succeeds Act ensured that we had more consistency, accountability, and open reporting of student test results. Funding contingent upon compliance with these laws. That's the ways that our federal government is involved in our schools. But did you hear everything that states and local school boards have completely maintained control over? So don't fall into this trap. And if you think schools were better before, if you think that we need to teach cursive handwriting again, all right, well, argue for it at your local school board. Write to your state representatives, because your states and your school boards are still in control of things like that and always have been. Don't fall for easy arguments.